This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. In breaking news, leading scientists worldwide are conducting experiments to determine if Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. However, it appears the study was inconclusive, as the scientists couldn't help but eat all the Reese's. Because when you want something sweet, you can't do better than Reese's. Find Reese's now at a store near you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Want to Hear Something Weird? A podcast about weird stuff. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Laura.
Laura, what you got for me today?
I am going to tell you about the Queen Mary.
Okay.
It's a ghostly ship.
A ghostly ship. Not a ghost ship.
Not a ghost ship,
So
a ship of ghosts.
It's a physical ship that exists, but it's full of ghosts.
Indeed. So many ghosts. This ship has an insane number of ghostly encounters with people, repetitive. Lots of different people have experienced things over many years. Okay. There's a lot to this.
Well, I don't know where you have to start, but I'm thinking it's probably somewhere along the lines of what the deal with this ship is. It's human world origins.
I do.
Great.
I know quite a lot, and I want to tell you about it. So the Queen Mary was built in the 1930s, and it was 2 times bigger than the Titanic.
Wow. That's a lot bigger.
A lot bigger and also a lot more powerful. And it was a luxury cruise ship that went across the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm. So similar to the Titanic.
Similar idea, just a lot bigger and more powerful.
Okay.
And because of the power of the ship, during World War II, it was even used to transport troops.
Oh, okay.
They had painted it gray and called it the Gray Ghost.
Ooh.
A bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
There's been a lot over the course of the time the ship's been running, that a lot of accidents, interesting, unexplained events, which we'll get into. And during World War II, there was even probably the worst event was the small boat that escorted the Queen Mary.
Right. During the war.
During the war. The Queen Mary collided into it, tore it in half.
Yikes.
And over 300 people lost their lives.
Oh, wow.
So it went on to have, after the war, went on to have a long life as a luxury cruise ship.
Because who wouldn't want to go on a luxury cruise ship that's killed 300 soldiers?
They kept that probably under wraps, but when they were trying to promote
that in the marketing brochure.
Take a wonderful vacation on our
presumably
ship.
Though, those ghosts, they're in the ocean. They're haunting the ocean.
Right. So we're going to get into some of the specific ghosts.
All right.
That we'll meet along the way here, but it had a long life as a luxury cruise ship, and in 1967, it was decommissioned and given over to the city of Long Beach, California.
Right.
Where it resides today. So
I was going to say, I think the only thing I know about the Queen Mary is from Arrested Development.
Oh, yeah. It's a tourist destination.
Yeah, right. I think there's like a restaurant on there or something, maybe. Yeah.
Yep.
But it's permanently docked, I believe.
Exactly. So in the early 1970s, it reopened as a floating hotel. So it's been sort of there ever since. A lot of the features of the ship remain, as the originals, and it gives guests the opportunity to kind of experience what crossing the Atlantic on this luxury cruise ship would have been like back in the day.
Yeah.
Without actually having to go anywhere.
It kind of makes me think of that, like a fake Titanic hotel that they have. I think it's somewhere in the South.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
Yeah. It's just a big hotel that looks like the Titanic, though.
Is it docked somewhere, I'd imagine?
It's like in the ground.
Oh, it's on
like
land?
an actual ship. It's weird.
It's now also a historical museum and tourist attraction, like I said. You know what the biggest draw is?
Probably those damn ghosts.
The ghost tours.
Oh, nice.
So there are a few ghosts that
work on the tour.
I mean, yes, kind of. They're basically entertainers on the tour that are the most notorious, but there are just so many different areas of the ship that have paranormal
things happening.
Yes. With guests, certainly with people who work on the ship now. Hotel workers.
Well, and like even the biggest ships in the world, they're still, it's still pretty tight confines.
Right.
You don't get a lot of ships that just have huge areas of wasted space. So I'm just thinking these ghosts are on top of each other in this place.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many that we're going to get into, but I want to just highlight two ghosts that are probably the most well-known.
Okay.
And they kind of tend to wander all around the ship.
Right. They get free reign of the ship.
Yes. And the first one is what they refer to as the Lady in White.
I feel like I've heard about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's one of the most well-known. And as her name suggests, she's dressed in white.
I think that might just be, I might just be thinking of that being a common ghost name.
The Lady in White, the Lady in Black.
Yeah, because, that's a pretty good name for a ghost.
Yeah, when you picture a ghost, a woman from,
The
early
30s or
1900s.
something.
Yeah, what do you picture? Lady in White.
White or Lady in Black. Probably white, though. Easier to see a white ghost. Easier to pick out from, like, the shadows.
Yeah. She is seen wandering the ship's corridors. Sometimes she dances near the piano lounge.
Okay.
She is believed to be the spirit of a woman who died on board under mysterious circumstances.
Dancing like nobody's watching because you're dead and you're a ghost.
She's just enjoying herself. So some reports believe that she is the ghost of a young woman who was on her honeymoon voyage. So really horrible.
Like a tragic death.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that just because she's wearing white? Like, what is that? So the Lady in White, we'll also revisit her later on. But Jackie is the second ghost, and she is a child who is primarily, a young child who's primarily in the second class pool area. Jackie's also sounds to be the most interactive with guests or tours.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think just by virtue of the fact that she has a first name,
yes,
tells you a lot about her.
Right. Jackie laughs, plays around the pool, giggles during the tours. The pool area is a stop on the tour, of course, and her wet footprints, the size of a child's, have been seen walking across the floor in sort of real time. Sometimes, the tour guides will be able to sort of get Jackie to interact with guests or people on the tour, answer questions, sing. So, Jackie's having a good time.
Yeah, it sounds like it. She's living her best life.
Yeah. Well, her best death.
as a permanently
her
child
best
ghost.
But overall, some pretty, not malicious spirit.
Yeah, these sound like fun tour ghosts.
Yes.
To see.
So I'm gonna take you through. Speaking of tours, on a little tour of the ship to kind of visit the different places where a lot of these encounters have happened or tend to be hotspots. So the first and probably most well known is stateroom B340 or 340.
Mm-hmm.
It was a third class room back in the day, and in 1948 a British passenger named Walter Adamson passed away in the room. Couldn't find anything about
like what happened.
Didn't sound particularly suspicious, but
you have a big ship like that. That happens on every big cruise ship has a morgue because you get enough people together, some of them are going to die sometimes.
Yeah, it's a lovely thought. But then nothing, reported for a while, but then in 1966, a woman who stayed in the room reported that she was woken up when the bed covers were pulled off of her sort of pulled down from where her feet were and pulled off. She pulls the covers back up. They're pulled down again. And then she thinks, hang on a minute, I'm staying by myself in this room.
Who's doing this?
She looks and sees a man standing at the foot of her bed.
Yikes.
Which you never want to wake up to that.
No, ghost or not, you don't want to wake up to that.
Let's talk this through. I think I would rather wake up to a ghost man standing at the foot of my bed than a human being.
Yeah, because a ghost can disappear.
Yes,
but a human, you're going to have to get out of that room somehow.
Yeah, like their intentions are bad. If a human's in your room pulling off your covers. So she screams naturally and rings for help. Mm-hmm. And then before help can arrive, the man just disappeared. And ever since then...
Best case scenario.
Yeah, well, yeah. Ever since then, guests and staff have reported a lot of very sort of classic ghost behaviors.
Yeah.
Seeing bathroom lights mysteriously turn on in the room, knocking on doors in the middle of the night, bathroom water running when no one had stayed in the room for days. And this is one that staff have reported that, they'll make the bed and then shortly afterward, the bed covers will be pulled right off.
Well, that's just kind of annoying.
So this ghost has a thing about pulling covers off, whether a person's in the bed or not. The room is supposed to be supposedly so haunted, and then they were getting so many reports that they ended up closing the room for a very long time, not allowing anyone to stay there.
Just not worth it.
Yeah. But it has since reopened for the paranormal weirdos that want to experience.
So you can stay in that room, or you can just go see it?
You can stay in it.
Wow. If you want to get the covers pulled off you.
Yep. Moving along to the Mauritania room. In 1989, during preparations for a reception, 2 women were cleaning a lounge area. The Mauritania room is a lounge area. And when they entered the room, they were startled to find a guest by themselves sitting quietly in a chair in the middle of the dance floor.
Oh, okay.
So forget murder on the dance floor. We got ghost on the dance floor.
The ghost sitting on the dance floor.
The ghost was kind of just staring off, not really looking at anyone or anything in particular. And naturally, the women were on high alert right off the bat. Moments later, a third woman joined them to help with the cleaning. And she immediately also noticed this person and remarked on the unsettling gaze of this. It sounded like it was a man.
Yeah.
She felt uneasy and politely requested that the guests move to a different location so that they could, continue to do their job. And, they're not getting any response from this ghost. They're not,
he's not acknowledging them in any way.
Exactly.
But at this point, they don't think it's a ghost. They think it's a real guy.
Yes, I guess their immediate thought is not ghost.
Yeah.
So they begin to discuss the situation with each other and talk about, okay, maybe we need to call security because this person is not acknowledging us.
Yeah.
And we need to do our jobs. And then without warning, the guests began to fade gradually from view. So basically dissipating into thin air right before them, which is classic ghost.
That you don't get much more classic ghosts than fading into a mist.
They were obviously astonished and bewildered, but all 3 of them shared the same experience and reported, seeing the guests disappear all at the same time. Next, we have the Mayfair room.
Okay, sounds nice.
Originally, it was the ship's beauty salon, but it now is an office for hotel staff.
Okay.
And in 2000...
Not a lot of people going to a dock ship to get their
hair done.
Their hair done nowadays, I guess.
Apparently not. But in 2001, a member of the accounting staff arrived early for work at 5:30 a.m., which is really a horror.
Yeah, that sounds like he was cooking the books or something to get in there that early when nobody... Wow. It sounds like she was cooking the books.
I think maybe she could just be a very punctual or dedicated employee.
Yeah. Maybe he likes to get there before... I was going to say before everybody else shows up so she can, like, get a head start on her day. But what good is that if the ghosts are just always there?
Well, she didn't quite know about the ghosts, or wasn't,
Well, she probably had a very analytical mind as an accountant and thinks ghosts don't exist.
Yes. Well, her mind would
Let me get to
change.
cooking these books.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. In breaking news, leading scientists worldwide are conducting experiments to determine if Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. However, it appears the study was inconclusive, as the scientists couldn't help but eat all the Reese's. Because when you want something sweet, you can't do better than Reese's. Find Reese's now at a store near you.
Upon entering the office, she sensed sort of a weird vibe in the room, an eerie atmosphere, if you will. A feeling that something was amiss.
Yeah, some ghost is like, hey, I got this room until 8.
Before everyone else arrives. She proceeded to do her tasks or work.
Cooking the books.
And suddenly she experienced like a chill.
Yeah.
She felt someone brushing up against the back of her chair, but no one was there. She was the only one there.
5:30 in the morning.
It's 5:30 in the morning. Moments later, she saw a translucent figure dressed in white gliding across the room, passing through the closed door. You know who that sounds like?
It sounds like the woman in white.
The lady in white.
The lady in white.
So this employee was immediately unnerved, and she grabbed her keys and left the room and waited until, tried to find other people and waited until all of her coworkers arrived before she felt comfortable going back. It spooked her that much.
Yeah. It was probably kind of funny because probably a bunch of people, when they showed up, their attitude was, did you see one of the ghosts? Yeah, we see the ghosts all the time. You're an accountant, so you just stay in that one room, so you don't really get to see ghosts. But the rest of us, every day, we're going up to ghosts, asking them to leave. They fade into mist.
We're gonna move on now.
Okay.
To
got a lot of ghosts to get through.
Another hot spot, the first class swimming pool.
Oh, nice.
So it's no longer operational is the word.
You can't swim in it.
You can go there on the tour. I believe they stop there on the tour, but it's because of California building codes, you can't actually swim there.
Right.
But it is, pretty well preserved from the original. It was a symbol of opulence and luxury aboard the ship back in the day.
I can imagine.
It had extravagant features such as an illuminated fountain.
Wow.
A stunning mother of pearl ceiling.
Wow.
And intricate mosaic tiles.
So it's like an indoor pool.
It's an indoor pool.
Wow. Okay.
And it's quite large and has balconies that go up 2 stories above the pool.
Yeah.
And there's one main grand staircase. It's really the only way to get up to the balconies from the bottom
I'm
of the pool
imagining
deck.
the stairs in Titanic.
Yes. Yep, exactly. And guests have reported seeing apparitions of swimmers in vintage bathing suits, as well as sounds of splashing and laughter when the pool is empty. Jackie, who we discussed earlier, she is known to also visit the first class pool, which honestly, she's second class, But in death,
you didn't
the rules
pay
are all
for
off.
that
the rules
first
of
class.
humanity
You can't come in. I guess none of the lifeguards died on board and are checking people's room numbers before they let them in.
No, she's allowed to have free reign. I think that's why she's having so much fun.
I'm also surprised that even the second class had a pool.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder how far down the classes went.
I think third is the final.
Third is the final.
But I don't know. I haven't read if there's a pool for the third class.
Probably not. And then steerage. You just get
Do
put
you
with all
find it
the
interesting
luggage.
that we've given up? We stopped saying first class, second class, third class, but we pretty much still have the same system on cruise ships.
Absolutely. It's just business class and
economy.
Yeah, because
budget friendly.
The corporations did enough surveys and found out people don't like. Probably people in first class like being told they're first class.
Yes, but everybody else.
Everybody else doesn't like it.
Visitors have also reported seeing a young woman, sort of early 20s age, dressed in a tennis skirt, descending the stairs.
Okay.
That grand staircase, and before she kind of disappeared behind pillars. So the pool area has a lot of these very grand pillars on the deck that kind of, connects to the balconies.
Yeah.
Another common apparition is a woman who's clad in old-fashioned attire and accompanied by a young boy wearing a suit that they kind of just linger near the pool. There's also been inexplicable phenomena.
Okay.
Such as sudden clouds of steam materializing out of nowhere.
Yeah. Sounds like ghost steam.
And it's accompanied by the appearance of a little girl dressed in a blue and white dress who vanishes without a trace in the blink of an eye. Sounds like that might be Jackie.
Yeah.
But sort of that there is this like cloud of steam that, appears before the apparition. A lot happening at the pool. But the pools also tends to be where, when the guests are able to sort of have most of their interactions with Jackie.
Yeah. I'm also thinking indoor pools and it's tile ceilings and stuff. Those kinds of rooms really trap sounds.
Yes, very echoey. And that is one thing that there's a man who worked on the ship, and I think he was sort of stationed at the first class pool, sort of on the tour. Mm-hmm. And so he spent a lot of time just kind of quietly in that area waiting for the tours to come through.
Waiting for the tourists to come through or for an employee to come up to him.
Report a ghost.
Thinking he's a ghost. Seeing if he disappears.
But one thing that he noted is he saw the young woman descending the staircase that didn't make any noise. So at first he thought it was actually a guest or somebody on a tour that somehow was kind of on their own.
Yeah.
But she didn't make any noise descending the stairs, and he describes the tiles on the stairs as being they're ceramic tiles, and a lot of them were loose.
Loose. Okay.
And would make a lot of noise as people walked down these stairs, and she was completely silent descending the stairs, which was an immediate red flag to him. And then she disappears
Right.
behind a pillar. So that's the first class pool. Now, I want to talk about this one's a bit more of a somber backstory, but there's a part of the ship called Shaft Alley. It's a hatch door that holds a dark history because it's the site of a tragic accident that resulted in the death of a member of the crew. The incident occurred one night in 1966 if you remember, 1966 is right before the boat was recommissioned, or ship was decommissioned. Stopped running. So, but the ship was take that back. So in 1966, this night, the orders were given to all of the crew, in particular this one crew member, to close the watertight doors.
Yeah.
And that was in the engine and boiler rooms. So about 5 minutes later, an 18-year-old crew member from Yorkshire was discovered trapped and crushed in hatch 13. So the rest of the crew scrambles to try and free him and get him to the hospital ward.
Yeah.
This boat is out on the ocean, so the best they could do was try to revive him on the boat. But he succumbed to his injuries, and there were signs of crushing, trauma from being crushed on his arms, his chest, his torso. And ever since this incident, there have been reports of activity in that area, sort of the boiler room, engine room
the
area.
Crushing area.
The crushing area.
The area
Shaft
you do
Alley,
not want to
called.
get locked inside of.
No, and a lot of these are, attributed to this crew member who passed.
Oh, okay. A lot of incidents, ghostly incidents.
Yes. So witnesses have recounted experiencing the sensation of someone who runs up behind them, hearing, and making whistling sounds. They find grease fingerprints where there really would be no reason for those to be there. Other people have talked about seeing a bearded man wearing blue overalls, which is what the young crewmen.
18 and a beard. Wow.
Well, you're on a ship. You can't. How easily
true.
is it to access a razor on a regular basis? I don't know. Several witnesses have also described encountering an apparition that inquires about a missing wrench.
Oh, okay.
Which is a classic crewman.
Yeah, it
question.
sounds like that guy who was crushed.
And the investigation, or when they kind of like
think about it.
Well,
wait a minute, is this guy real, or is he going to disappear into fog?
And guess what?
Disappears into a fog.
Indeed. So,
which makes you wonder if he's really serious about finding that wrench or not.
Yeah. I mean, I think so, but he realizes
then you gotta stick around. You can't just disappear into a fog. Man, what if somebody just has to get that guy a wrench and then he can move on
to the next world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worth
Someone
a try.
Think of that. Yeah. Can he take a earthly
I think
wrench?
you'd probably just have to like leave it somewhere for him.
Yeah. That's a good thought. That's a nice thought.
Yeah.
But this whole area, a lot of people think that there's also weird like portal energies.
Oh, okay.
There's places you walk where it just feels very cold too.
Okay.
So this area, I don't know that it has anything to do with the crewmen, but the boiler room and the engine room, which is just sort of when you think about a ship, you're like, yeah that's a creepy area.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
Area.
Yeah, very dangerous. Like you don't want to be down there in general.
No.
Hard area to work in. Yeah, like you said, dangerous, smelly, hot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing, throughout the whole ship, there's also a ghost that growls.
Oh, a growling ghost.
Just, an inexplicable ghost that will growl.
But it sounds like a human growl, not like an animal.
Right.
Huh. Maybe it's just like a cat calling ghost that's going like, oh,
maybe.
Oh, I can't do that.
Are you just pretending like you can't so that...
Do you think I'm faking it? I can't do it.
I can't do
like
it.
that.
I can't kill. And so, yeah, the ship kind of all across the board. It seems like anywhere you go, you're going to run into a...
When I cat call, I go hubba hubba.
Yeah. That's
that's my
classic.
Trademark cat call.
You're more Pepe Le Pew than...
Yeah. Than
carnal.
Yeah. You're unleashing the animal in me.
No. For the record, you don't cat call, at least.
Yeah,
certainly not in my presence.
Yeah. I wonder how people would take to a ghost that said hubba hubba.
I wouldn't love it.
If you're just walking down a hallway and what you think is an empty ship, and then you hear hubba hubba, turn around, nobody's there.
See, my mind would be going to, okay, well, there's someone around a corner making that.
Right. Or that might be the ghost that pulls sheets off of women while they're sleeping. So best to avoid.
Yeah. But like I said, Queen Mary is a
haunted as heck
destination spot. Seems pretty interesting to me.
Let me ask you a question. How would you feel about working in a place that's haunted? Because I feel like if you watch some of these like ghost hunting shows and whatnot, they'll go to a restaurant or a bar. We went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Key West that is haunted. It's haunted from before it was a Hard Rock Cafe. Nothing the Hard Rock Cafe Corporation did presumably resulted in creating a ghost. We need to be explicit on that, or else we'll lose that lucrative Hard Rock Cafe potential sponsorship. But I always wonder if it's kind of cool to work in a bar or restaurant or a place like this, a tourist attraction that's haunted. Gives you something to pass the time.
I do think it would be fun more talking about it with coworkers.
Yeah, it gives you something to all talk about.
But I genuinely don't think I'd want to ever really be alone in a certain place.
I was going to say, it's all fun and games until you're closing and somebody's like, oh, you have to go down to the basement to get the ketchup.
Yeah.
We got to refill the ketchup dispensers.
I'm too much of a scaredy cat, even though I don't think, and in this case, the ghosts don't seem like they're harmful or trying to frighten people, but they're just kind of playing little ghostly games.
I got to be honest, no matter how hard they try, disappearing into a mist will
Spooky.
scare the shit out of me. I'm sorry. I don't care how nice you are and how well-intentioned. That's going to scare me.
Yeah.
So
I do think, I will say, I would prefer working in a haunted place than living in a haunted place.
Because, it's easier.
There's no way I can sleep.
Easier
There's
to
no way
get
I'm sleeping in this, stateroom that's haunted.
Easier to get a new job than to move house if stuff starts going south. And you're spending, presumably about 8 hours a day, and you're not spending 8 hours a day where you're sleeping and vulnerable like you are in a haunted home.
Yeah. But unless the ghost attaches itself to you and comes home with you.
Yeah, I feel like they got a good setup on the ship. I doubt they follow very many people home. They want to live on the ship. It's nice.
Yeah. Well, do they want to? Or do they want to move on?
Or they want to move on. That's why we got to get that guy his wrench.
Yeah. We should go on the tour and bring a wrench with us.
If I go on this, at least one of those like little tiny wrenches, that's probably not what he wants. He works on a ship.
Yeah,
he doesn't
needs
want
a
like
big guy.
a little pocket wrench. He needs like one of those big ass wrenches. But I don't know. You get what you get, pal.
Yeah.
If we go on this tour, we'll bring a little wrench for him.
Aww.
Maybe we'll bring a big wrench. We'll see if there are metal detectors before you go on the ship.
There might be.
And they might be trying to prevent. They're like, the last thing we need is people releasing all these ghosts into the next realm.
Big attraction.
Yeah. We got to keep them tortured here.
Yeah. So that's the Queen Mary.
Wow. Sounds like a very haunted place. I would like to see it one day.
Me too. Let's
Ghostly
take a trip to Long
ships,
Beach.
scary stuff.
Yeah.
At least this one's like not out to sea, so you don't have to worry about it ghosts sinking the ship, I guess.
Ooh, I never thought about that. But
Yeah, especially the one in the engine room. You could probably cause all kinds of havoc.
Yeah.
Open up those watertight doors.
The nice thing about this ship is you can get off it pretty easily. You're not stuck in the middle of the
Right.
ocean having these ghostly experiences.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, if you're on a regular cruise ship and you have a ghost encounter, they're not going to send the helicopter to airlift you off the boat.
no, they're going to think
They're going to say you're going to have to get off at the Bahamas or whatever our next dock. Sorry, them's the rules.
Also, you're disturbing everyone else on the ship, so please leave.
Yeah. Hey, if you have a spooky encounter or just anything, you can email us, wannahearpod@gmail.com. Tell us if there are topics you want to hear about, let us know. We're also Wanna Hear Pod on most social media platforms, TikTok, your Instagram, your Twitter, so you can follow us on those places. And if you got the time, why not leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify? A 5-star review really helps people find new shows like this one, and we really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's left reviews. We see those reviews, and we love them, and we love you as a result. All right, well, I guess that's it for this week. So want to hear something weird about the very scary
Queen Mary.
See you next week.
Want to Hear Something Weird is a Clamor audio production, distributed by the Cloud 10 Network. Hosted and executive produced by Tom Reynolds and me, Laura Anderson. Executive produced by Aaron Hilliard.
Clamor General Manager Rich Statter. Associate Producer Ethan Aronson. Post-production supervised by Devin Ruskin. Production Assistant Samara Mullock. Special thanks to Sim Sarna and Saiba Krieger at Cloud 10.